What happened to 21 Golden Boy Award winners? The Golden Boy Award is to young players what the Ballon d'Or is to world-class players. I guess you know already, it's an award that the best young player in Europe gets each year. Well, it's been in existence since 2003. This means we have 21 recipients for the award. While some of these recipients go to become world-class and achieve great things, not every player actually has it rosy after receiving the Golden Boy Award. Some of them are simply unable to deal with the overwhelming expectations that come with receiving the Golden Boy Award. From Messi, who is what every Golden Boy Award winner hopes to become, to Balotelli, who we might as well call the exact opposite. This is what happened to the 21 Golden Boy Award winners.
A triangle of Van der Vaart, Defoe and Adebayor. It's going to be a good test of whether he can step up a level or two.
Number 21, Rafael van der Vaart. He's the first player in this video, but before we go on to see what became of him after this prestigious award, please smash the like and share buttons, and also please subscribe to the channel if you're new here. So Rafael is first in this video for an obvious reason. He's the first recipient of the Golden Boy Award. Sadly, his career was far from being golden. Rafael became an Ajax sensation at the young age of 17. He broke into the first team and was considered one of the most talented midfielders his age. The Dutchman clearly had a lot to offer, but maybe his club asked for a little too much. At Ajax, Rafael took part in 177 matches, scoring 52 goals in the process. He looked like a star that was going to get bigger by the day. Sadly, his body couldn't carry him and he began getting injured. I guess he had put his body through a lot at a very young age. By the age of 22, he couldn't continue at Ajax because it appeared he didn't have much to offer. Since this was now surplus to requirements at Ajax, Rafael van der Vaart moved to Bundesliga, where he signed for Hamburg. Not many people expected this deal, but it was a good deal for him as he began rediscovering his form. He was at Hamburg for 3 seasons and was back to being the player he was at Ajax. The big clubs began eyeing him again, and guess what? To put pen to paper for Spanish giants Madrid, this seemed like a move up the ladder. Sadly, it wasn't the best of moves for the Dutch midfielder, as he had to fight for a spot in the Madrid squad with one-time Ballon winner Kaká. He clearly couldn't get anything out of playing in Madrid, so he moved to England, where he began playing for Tottenham. This move revived his career a little, but the former Golden Boy Award winner was now far from being the player many had hoped he would become. He soon returned to Hamburg, where he stayed for a while before moving around a couple of not-so-popular clubs. Eventually, he hung his boot in 2018. Van der Vaart perhaps did a bit of damage to the image of the Golden Boy Award, but his successor redeemed this image. Number 20, Wayne Rooney. He might not be considered one of the best players on the planet. However, the 2004 Golden Boy Award winner is one of the best strikers to come out of England. He is still Manchester United's highest goal scorer and could have been in the same position in England if not for the prolific Harry Kane, who broke his record of 53 goals for the Three Lions.
And I remember also nice that Harry Kane trained a few times with us. And I remember, I think his first time, second time, and I remember telling against a teammate, I said, he is so shit, he can't control the ball. And what I want to say is that how can somebody develop, he's such a good player now, the best striker in the world, and the first trainings, I didn't saw it, but you saw that he was learning by doing, and so much respect of that.
Before becoming a Red Devil, Rooney made his name at Everton, where he took everyone by surprise after scoring a goal against Arsenal. He was 16 but was already on the Everton first team. Shortly after making his name at Everton, he moved to the Red Quadrant of Manchester.
Some of you might not know what that's about.
Where he won 5 league titles and 1 Champions League and cemented his place as legend. After having several great seasons with United, Rooney was back at Everton, where it all started for him. His stay at Everton was short. He moved on to the United States, played a little, and then returned to England, where he played a bit more before retiring. Rooney obviously had a great career, but the winner of the 2005 Golden Boy Award made his career look like child's play. Number 19, Lionel Messi. Apart from his height, Lionel Messi is perhaps everything that every player wants to be. He's one of the best dribblers, goal scorers, and assist providers of all time. And we can say that Lionel Messi was what the organizers of the Golden Boy Award had in mind when they named this award. Dude wasn't gold-plated. He was simply a big mass of gold. Messi had his Barcelona debut in 2004, and for the next 17 years, he was busy breaking and creating records. During his time in Barcelona, the captain of the Argentine national team featured in 778 matches, scoring 672 goals. That's not all. He won 4 Champions League titles and 10 League Cups. After winning it all in Spain, he moved to the French capital, where he continued to win, and just when it seemed like his career was over, he got the biggest trophy in the football community. Dude picked up the 2022 World Cup after his country had a terrible start to the tournament. Unlike several Golden Boy Award winners who did not win other awards after this, Lionel Messi won several prestigious awards, and among them are 8 Ballon d'Or awards. Messi is perhaps the best thing that has ever happened to football, so making him a standard of what Golden Ball Award winners should be like isn't right. That would actually be asking for too much. You see, just like Messi's predecessor, his successor was also very talented and had a stellar career. But judging by Messi's standard, he achieved next to nothing. Number 18, Cesc Fabregas. Cesc Fabregas was Messi's teammate at La Masia and went on to become his teammate in Barcelona. But unlike Messi, who became a Barcelona star right after his time in the Barcelona Academy, Fabregas moved to London to play for Arsenal, eventually having a brief stint with Barcelona. Fabregas was 19 and was playing for Arsenal when he won the Golden Boy Award in 2006. Although he was just a teenager, he was already one of the best midfielders in England. Fabregas was almost world-class as a teenager, but he was just getting started. By the age of 21, he had developed so much that he was Arsenal's captain. Fabregas was at Arsenal for close to a decade. Sadly, these years weren't laced with medals, so in a bid to win trophies, the Spaniard was bound for Barcelona, where it all started for him. Although this move wasn't bad, it still wasn't a great move as he struggled to break into the first 11. He had to sit on the bench for the likes of Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets. Unsatisfied with this, Fabregas headed back to London, but this time he didn't sign for Arsenal. He opted to settle in West London, where he surprisingly signed for Chelsea. Of course, Arsenal fans didn't fancy this move. However, it was quite a perfect move for Fabregas as he was able to win the Premier League after forming a deadly partnership with Diego Costa. After a successful short stint with Chelsea, Cesc joined Monaco and went on to play for a couple of clubs before finally hanging up his boots in 2023. Fabregas handed the Golden Boy Award to another Spanish-speaking Premier League legend. This man, who won the Golden Boy Award in 2007, is Manchester City's highest goal scorer. Number 17, Sergio Aguero. Sergio Aguero will always be remembered as a City legend. However, he made his name outside City. He was already a lethal striker and Diego Forlan's partner at Atletico before making the big move to England. Aguero was Messi's teammate from youth level all the way to Argentine national team and could have been his teammate at club level, but the universe had other plans. After becoming a big name in Argentina, Atletico Madrid bought Aguero for £17 million. He was in the Spanish capital for a while and went on to score 100 goals before joining Manchester City. Although not the most fancy player, Aguero will never be forgotten as he delivered the citizens their first league trophy after scoring a 93-minute goal against QPR on the last day of the league. This was perhaps not the most beautiful goal, but many people consider it the most important goal of his career. Interestingly, he was assisted by fellow Golden Boy Award winner who made a mess of this award. We'll talk about him in a moment, but now is the time to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so. Pato. Aguero was in England for several years, played 390 matches for Manchester City and scored 260 goals. He won it all except the Champions League. He finally moved to Barcelona, where he was hoping to play alongside Messi. Sadly, this didn't work as Messi was moving out of Spain. This was bad. However, things got even worse when Aguero was diagnosed with a heart condition and had to retire in 2021. Aguero did not get as big as Messi, but just like Fabregas before him, he lived up to expectations. Sadly, we can't say that much about his successor. Number 16, Anderson. Anderson walked into Manchester United's first team from Brazil. He was a wonder kid, but for reasons we won't be talking about, he never developed into a player he hoped to be. The young Brazilian was signed by Alex Ferguson in 2007, and in 2008 he won the Golden Boy Award. Anderson was at Manchester United for close to a decade, but not many people even know that. The reason for this is quite obvious. He never really became an important player in the United squad. Although it is easy to blame Anderson for not becoming the player many people expected him to become, he actually had to deal with multiple injuries, and maybe this played a role in stunting his development. Although Anderson wasn't contributing much to the Red Devils, he remained at Old Trafford until Louis van Gaal felt he was surplus to requirement and let him go. It is easy to say Anderson was a disappointment to the Golden Boy Award, but he wasn't the only disappointment. His countryman, Pato, who won this award in 2009, also went down as one of the worst recipients of the Golden Boy Award. Number 15, Alexander Pato. Apart from being winners of the Golden Boy Award, Anderson and Alexander Pato probably do not have a lot in common, but beyond merely winning the same award, these two guys walked into some of the biggest clubs in Europe quite easily. Unlike Anderson, he went to England. Pato landed in Italy, where he joined AC Milan. Everyone who saw young Pato play knew he was destined for the top, so it wasn't a surprise when he won the Golden Boy Award in 2009. Pato was on his way to becoming one of the best players in Europe. Sadly, he began struggling with injuries, and this affected his development. After missing about 59 matches in 3 years, Pato couldn't continue in Milan. He was back in Brazil, where he began playing for Corinthians. Well, he couldn't settle in Corinthians, so he tried a couple of other clubs, but his career couldn't get back to where it was before he got injured. It wasn't exactly Pato's fault that he didn't live up to the hype around him, but his successor could have done better. He had all that he needed to make a success out of football, but indiscipline had the best of him. Number 14, Mario Balotelli. Mario Balotelli was the best young player in the world in 2010. He was still at Inter Milan, and he perhaps never saw himself as the best young player. He acted like he deserved more than just an award for the best young player. There was no doubt about how talented Balotelli was. Sadly, that wasn't the only obvious thing about him. There was also the fact that he was difficult to deal with. Dude was still young, but was a lot more problematic than lots of established stars. Mario knew that he needed talent to become a great player. Unfortunately, he thought talent was everything, so he didn't give his all in training. Regardless of this, he was able to win a treble with Inter Milan. Balotelli proved too big to handle. With this, he was shipped to England, where he signed for Manchester City. This was supposed to give him some fresh air, but he didn't think he needed one. At the same time that he was difficult to deal with in Italy, his manager at City got tired of him and had to let him go. After leaving City, Mario played for a couple of clubs, but he just couldn't perform at the level expected of him. The Golden Boy Award that he got was the best thing that happened to his career, and it's closely followed by the fact that he was the first black player to play for the Italian national team. Balotelli was a flop, but maybe not as big of a flop as Mario Götze.
Still full of running, and he's Götze! It's Mario Götze!
Number 13, Mario Götze won the Golden Boy Award in 2011, and 3 years later he scored one of the most important goals in German football history. His goal in the 2014 World Cup final was perhaps the best thing that happened to his career. Mario Götze became a Dortmund Academy member when he was 8 and made it to the first team in 2009. As a Dortmund star, Götze played a key role in their Bundesliga success. He also brought a lot to the table where Borussia Dortmund almost won the Champions League. This dream was ended in Bayern after they beat Dortmund in the Champions League final. Although Dortmund were not good enough to conquer Europe, Bayern thought Götze deserved to be on their team, and with this, they bought him. Going to Bayern was like climbing to the next level of the ladder. But things just didn't go according to plan for Götze. Dude struggled with fitness and couldn't quite get a place in the Bayern team. He finally went back to Dortmund, but he just didn't look like the same player who won the Golden Boy Award. Mario was a huge disappointment. However, the next Golden Boy Award winner went on to rule in the Champions League. Number 12, Isco, was a Malaga star when he won the Golden Boy Award in 2012. Although he never went on to win other major personal awards, he moved to Real Madrid where he won 5 Champions League trophies, the most of any Golden Boy Award winner. Winning 5 Champions League trophies might make it seem like Isco had it easy at Madrid, but that wasn't what happened. Dude had to fight for a place in the Madrid midfield, and the guys he was up against were Kroos, Modric, and James. This means he didn't have as many chances as he would have loved. Isco had a great start to football, but it doesn't seem like the end of his career is anything like the beginning.
Always give it to your midfield players. Don't take any chances whatsoever. Leave it up to one of the big guys. Sergio Aguero, one of the magnificence. This Argentina team.
Number 11, Paul Pogba. Speaking of players that the beginning of their careers is a lot better than the end, Paul Pogba won the Golden Boy Award in 2013, and a decade later, his career nosedived. Pogba received the Golden Boy Award a year after he began playing for Juventus. After winning this award, the former French midfielder went on to become one of the best midfielders in the world. He literally conquered Italy and was looking to come back to Manchester United, where his career actually began. He failed to replicate the form he was associated with at Juventus and had some problems with his manager. Although club football wasn't great for Pogba, the 2018 World Cup came and he was excellent. He even scored in the final and ended up winning the World Cup with France. Pogba returned to United as a World Cup winner, but things were not any better. As a matter of fact, it was a free fall for him. So he joined Juventus. This was a desperate move to save his career. However, it became the last football move he would make. Pogba is currently on a 4-year ban from football and will be too old to continue with football when his ban is over. On to number 10, Raheem Sterling. Sterling is the second English player to win the Golden Boy Award, and just like Pogba before him, his career is no longer than it used to be. But before he lost form, he made his mark as a top player. Sterling won the Golden Boy Award as a Liverpool player. As much as winning this award in 2014 was the best thing that happened to him, it could have been the second best, as he came very close to winning the league with Liverpool, but Gerrard's slip stood in the way of that. Losing out on the Premier League title was bad. However, it wasn't a problem, as he soon joined Manchester City, where he won a couple of league titles. Sterling was at City for 8 years and scored 131 goals in 339 matches. However, he sits just behind fellow Golden Boy Award winner Aguero on the City all-time scorers list. Raheem did quite well as a City player, but beyond doing well at club level, he also did well with the Three Lions. He played a key role in England reaching the semi-finals of the World Cup and the final of the Euro. After being at City for years, he was beginning to fall down the pecking order, so he decided to move to London, where he joined Chelsea. This move was wrongly timed, as his arrival at Chelsea came at a time when the Blues were in bad shape. With the way Sterling's career has turned out, it's difficult to believe he won the Golden Boy Award. However, many people have forgotten that Martial actually won the Golden Boy Award.
Martial.
Number 9, Anthony Martial. Before becoming what many people will agree is a Manchester United flop, Martial was a king in France. Dude was so good he was getting compared to French legendary striker Thierry Henry. Well, United saw where they thought he was headed and signed him for 50 million euros. Martial hit the ground running. He scored on his debut, not just against any club, but against Liverpool. That season, he went on to score 17 more goals and crowned it with an FA Cup medal. Martial. Martial was supposed to get better as the years went by, but he was just too inconsistent. In 2020, he hit a personal high of 23 goals in a season, and that's the best he's done in a United shirt. Since Martial was no longer delivering, he went on to Sevilla on loan in 2022. But that wasn't good enough to revive his career. He's currently at United warming the bench. Everyone agrees Martial is a disappointment, but the next guy is even more disappointing. Number 8, Renato Sanchez won the Golden Boy Award in 2016. He was a young player with a lot of prospects. He had just done great with Benfica and had won the Euro with Portugal, so he was looking like the next big thing in Europe. Bayern Munich thought they were beating other teams to a man that could go on to win the Ballon d'Or when they signed Renato. But they made a mistake. He just couldn't fit into life in Bayern. He was featured in only 4 games and was sent out on loan to Swansea. Swansea was supposed to give Renato a fresh start, but that wasn't what happened. He only played 12 games because he couldn't bring much to the table. Bayern eventually sold him to Lille in the French league. At this point, it seemed like Sanchez's career was having a free fall, but that wasn't quite the case. His career got revived at Lille. As a matter of fact, he was back to form and helped them win the French league. Since Sanchez had a hand in PSG losing the league, they decided to buy him. In 2022, Sanchez put pen to paper for PSG, but he never really got to settle into the club as he was constantly getting injured. From the French capital, he moved to the Italian capital to play under Mourinho. Sadly, the Portuguese player never replicated the form that helped him become a Golden Boy Award winner. After a bad run of form, the Golden Boy Award finally found its way to the right hand.
Obliged. France just might. A superstar re-enlivened. A nation Mbappe. Thuram. Mbappe! Oh, wow! 97 seconds between Mbappe's penalty and his ferocious volley. Into the galaxy of greats!
Well, we build it as the Mbappe-Messi show.
Number 7, Kylian Mbappe. He came onto the scene in the 2016-2017 season, and from this point on, he was unstoppable. He did so much as a Monaco player, helping his team reach the Champions League semi-final. That was how far he could take them, but that wasn't how far he could go. The attacker picked up the Golden Boy Award for the year 2017. Picking up the Golden Boy Award was great, but Kylian was just starting. He moved to PSG as one of the most expensive players of all time. He was young, but already in the big leagues. Moving to PSG was a good move for Mbappe, but he was just starting. He played at the 2018 World Cup, which France won. However, beyond merely winning the World Cup, Kylian scored in the final. Not many people get to win the World Cup as teenagers and even play active roles in their team's success. But Kylian did this and more. 4 years after winning the 2018 World Cup, Kylian was on course to win another, but was stopped by Messi. It clearly wasn't his year, but this didn't stop him from scoring a hat-trick in the 2022 World Cup. Kylian's career is still shining, and judging by the number of Ballon d'Ors he could win, dude will never be as big as Messi. Regardless of this, he is the best player in Europe at the moment. Number 6, Mathieu de Ligt. After Mbappe's reign, the Golden Boy Award winner went to a defender for the first time. De Ligt was an Ajax defender when he won the Golden Boy Award in 2018. Beyond being an excellent defender, he was the youngest player to feature in a Europa Cup final. Sadly, his team lost to United. Getting to the Europa final with Ajax was great, but even better was getting to the Champions League semi-final as a teenager. De Ligt has done it all with Ajax, so he moved to Juventus after the old ladies paid 65 million euros for his signature. In his first season, he won the Serie A. However, he struggled to stay in form in the next, but that was not a problem as he joined German giants Bayern Munich the next season and won the league. De Ligt has had quite a fair career, but it's interesting how we can't say the same about the person he passed the award to. Number 5, João Felix. João Felix was at Benfica. when he won the 2019 Golden Boy Award. Although he wasn't in the Champions League, he made the Europa League feel hot after scoring a hat-trick against Frankfurt. Of course, he wasn't the first to do this, he was the youngest. Felix seemed too good to be in Benfica, so he joined Atletico Madrid after the Spanish club paid over 100 million euros for his signature. Moving to Spain meant moving to a bigger league, but joining Atletico wasn't such a great move, as it just isn't a place for an attack-minded player like him to thrive. After a couple of seasons at Atletico, Felix joined Chelsea on loan, where he failed to impress. He's currently back in Spain and is on let a lot of people down, but this next guy has raised the bar so high that even very good players were unable to cope.
Rolled through to Kevin De Bruyne, who sets up Haaland. Another goal for Erling Haaland, set up by Kevin De Bruyne. They are forming quite the partnership, and they take it on tour to Europe. 1-0 to Manchester City.
Number 4, Erling Haaland. Haaland won the Golden Boy Award in 2020, and he clearly deserved it. Unlike several other winners of this award, this looks like the first of many awards to come. Haaland might not be the best at doing a lot of things that the football world fancies, but no one scores better than he does. We don't know what other Golden Boy Award winners were born to do, but Haaland was clearly born to score goals, and this was easy to notice since he was an RB Salzburg star. As a relatively unknown player, Haaland scored 8 goals in 6 matches in the Champions League group stage. Although his team didn't go far, he was done playing football at that level. He moved to Dortmund, where he had 89 appearances, scoring 86 goals. After spending 2.5 years at Dortmund, Haaland moved to Manchester City, where he continued breaking and setting new records. Haaland is still young, but he is already considered one of the best strikers of his generation and is well on his way to winning the Ballon d'Or. Number 3, Pedri Gonzalez. Gonzalez was the second Spanish Golden Boy Award winner after Fabregas. But unlike Fabregas, who joined Barcelona as a kid, Pedri became a Barcelona player at the age of 16. At 18, he had already made 50 appearances for Barcelona, and this is the second youngest Barcelona player to hit this milestone. Pedri hasn't been in Barcelona for very long, but already he has won a lot of major awards and has done his bit for the Spanish national team. That's not all. He's already forming a partnership with a teammate, which might produce the same results as the Iniesta-Xavi partnership. Interestingly, his partner in the Barcelona midfield is also a Golden Boy Award winner. Number 2, Gavi. Gavi is to Pedri what Xavi is to Iniesta. He won Barcelona at age 11 and won the Golden Boy Award in 2022, the same year he broke into Barcelona's first team. Before the emergence of Lamine Yamal, who is currently Spain's youngest debutant, Gavi was not only Spain's youngest debutant, but also their youngest goal scorer. Sadly, this is a record that he no longer holds. Gavi is yet to get into conversations about the Ballon d'Or, but this next player is already getting tipped as a future Ballon d'Or winner. Number 1, Jude Bellingham. Bellingham is the current Golden Boy Award winner and is the 3rd English player to hold this award. He began his professional career in Birmingham before signing for Dortmund as a 17-year-old. He went on to become one of the best players and captain the German Giants, before joining Madrid, where he's also considered one of their best players. Beyond featuring for some of the best clubs on the planet, Jude has always represented England at the Euro and the World Cup, so it's obvious he's hoping to end up one of the most successful Golden Ball Award winners ever. This is where we draw the curtains today, folks. So which of these players do you consider the most successful, apart from Messi, of course, and which of them do you consider the biggest flop? Kindly tell us in the comment section below. Please watch the video on your screen now and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.